Good afternoon. I'm Chris Scherer, Member Communications Director of the Society of Broadcast Engineers and the co-host of this month's episode of the SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the web. This is a monthly SBE meeting, usually held on the third Monday of the month. The SBE is the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals with about 5,000 members, mostly in the U.S., but also around the world. The SBE WEBxtra is sponsored by Catrine. Catrine, unique experience, individual solutions, reliable performance. The host of today's SBE WEBxtra is SBE board member Kirk Harnack, who is also the chair of the SBE Social Networking Committee. And good afternoon, Kirk.
Hey, good afternoon, Chris. Great to see you. And, we've been doing this show all through COVID. And today we get to talk about getting together in a kind of post-COVID world. We've got a couple of good guests, Chris. Thank you for arranging them also and for their participation. Tom McNicholl is going to be with us, and Vinny Lopez is going to be with us talking about the SBE Expo, the Chapter 22 Expo. So I can't wait to talk to them, talk about, what it's like to get people back together. Some chapters are having really good success with bringing their members back together. So we'll talk to Vinny and Tom about bringing people together for the big national meeting. But Chris, I think you have you have a member update for us before we jump into the meat and potatoes.
Indeed, I do. And this is your SBE member update for September 19, 2022. The next live webinars by SBE on the calendar is in October, on October 20th. It's part 2 of the Introduction to Successful Troubleshooting, and it's called Taking the Next Step. Dan Fogel, founder and former CEO of DNF Controls, will lead the series. You can always access the entire library of webinars by SBE presentations on demand. For more information on these and all the webinars by SBE, go to sbe.org/webinars. The next SBE certification exam window at local chapters is in November. The application deadline for that exam is now closed, so if you still want to take one, the next chapter exam window after that is in February of next year. The application deadline for that exam is January 6th. But if you don't want to wait, or if a local chapter exam is just not convenient for you or not possible because of in-person restrictions, private proctoring is available. More information on how to do that, as well as everything you always wanted to know about SBE certification, is online at sbe.org/certification. And as Kirk just mentioned, the 2022 SBE National Meeting will be held next week, September 28th and 29th, in Liverpool, New York. That's right next to Syracuse. The national meeting will be held in conjunction with the SBE22 Broadcast and Technology Expo. The SBE will hold several meetings, including a meeting of the board of directors. The fall membership meeting will be streamed live, which is also when the newly elected officers and directors will take their positions. The SBE Awards Dinner will also be held, and the many national award recipients, including the Engineer of the Year and Educator of the Year, will be recognized for their achievements. Get all the details on the events at the SBE website. Follow the link on the homepage or go to News and Headlines. We'll hear more about that on today's installment of the SBE WEBxtra. That is your SBE member update for September 19th, 2022. Kirk.
Thanks a lot, Chris. And I want to thank you again, Chris, for organizing this particular show, as you do many shows. I really appreciate it. And our guests, let's bring them on in. Tom McNicholl is here, CBTE certified by the SBE for television engineer. And Vinny Lopez, CEV and CBNT are here to join us. Let's see if we can do we have a 4-shot? We have to one at a time? How are we going to see our friends here? There. Oh, look at that. It's like the Brady Bunch, but better.
Good afternoon.
How you doing? So that's, if you're watching, that is
Alice.
Well, there's Vinny Lopez. See, it says so right there on his lower third. Thanks, Suncast,
right
for popping that up. And there's Tom McNicholl. Good to see you guys. And you guys are here because you are Expo organizers of this Expo. So who wants to tell us what is this is a football. What's the elevator speech for this event coming up near Syracuse, New York?
Vinny, you want to jump in there?
Oh, this is the latest installment of the Chapter 22 Expo, which has been going on since 1972 or so. With a few years, we had stopped it, brought it back in 2019, and then COVID happened and no one was getting together. So this year we said, things are loosening up. The state has dropped a lot of requirements and masking mandates. Why not give it a try this year to bring it back? Because that's the one thing I keep hearing from people is they miss the human interaction, the actually seeing the voice that's behind the name, seeing the person, so we figured we'd bring it back.
Vinny, the last expo that was held by Chapter 22 in Syracuse was in 2019, right?
Right. 2019.
Right.
Before that, it was 2014.
2014.
Right. Yeah. And that was the last time the national meeting was in Syracuse as well, 2014. It kind of, we had a little lack of participation for volunteers after 2014 and, a few other things, challenges, we'll get into that. And we brought it back in 2019 and here we are today.
So, Tom, you guys had plans for expos there in 2020 and 2021, but like so many other things, what happened?
Yep. COVID came. SBE National was supposed to join us in 2020, and John Porre was right on board with it and trying to, make the arrangements, and then COVID hit. He was here in Syracuse probably a month before COVID, trying to make plans, and then we got derailed. So um, we're back, and 2019 was kind of a resurrection show, and it was a little slow going getting exhibitors. It's still a little bit slow going. We're trying to build the show year after year and try to get it back to the status it used to be. We are up 7 booths more than we were in 2019 with a few more sponsors. So we're getting there. We are growing.
Well, so Tom, it sounds like you have this attitude that unless you're growing, you're falling back, and you actually, by the numbers, you are growing a bit with 7 more sponsors than you had before. Gives attendees more reason to come, right?
That's correct. Attendance has been down a little bit. It was in 2019. We don't get the numbers we used to get. And a lot of that's in part because there are less engineers now. Let's face it, especially in radio, you've got one engineer taking care of like 20, 30 stations, and it's getting to be that way in TV as well. But what we heard from our exhibitors in 2019, it wasn't the quantity of attendees, it was the quality of the attendees. They were the people they wanted to see. They made good contacts. So all the more reason to come back and exhibit again.
Yeah. Vinny, I've come to a few of these, maybe 3, maybe 4 in my career with Telos Alliance. And I didn't know anything about your area or about it. It's been held at a couple times at the Turning Stone Casino in Verona. You're going back. Well, you can tell me in a minute. You're going back to Liverpool, but I was not really very familiar with that particular part of the country. When I was a kid, I lived in Rochester, but I don't remember anything except for the swimming pool in the backyard. So maybe you could. I was really pleasantly surprised when I flew a plane somewhere, landed, drove to the event, the expo some years ago, and the place was beautiful. What a gorgeous part of the country you live in. Tell me about what people who have never been there, what would they experience just from an environmental point of view and how gorgeous the area is.
Centrally located, middle of New York State, a lot of trees, rolling hills, things like that. Yes, it's not at Turning Stone. It's not the big glitzy casino. It's the place where we were before we were at Turning Stone. And it's still a really nice facility, centrally located. I mean, the directions to get there are, I can do it in one sentence. Get on the New York State Thruway, get off at exit 37, go through the stoplight, into the parking lot, you're there. Can't get much simpler than that.
This message brought to you by Syracuse Tourism.
And very close to the airport as well. So
no, but Vinny and Tom, I just want my first time going there, and actually my second and perhaps third time, if I've been there 3 times, is that I landed there, drove in, and thought, this place is really nice. I ought to take a vacation here sometime. I mean, it's a beautiful part of the country there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, temperatures are not on the extremes here. We don't get terribly hot into the hundreds. We hit the 90s every so often. And this time of the year, it doesn't get horribly cold. I mean, you'll get to the 50s most nights now moving
Mhm.
forward. But, it's not like the middle of the desert where you're sitting there in 110-degree weather wondering, why am I here?
Well, oh yeah, people do that at another outing. Well, and my point in bringing that up is
Yeah.
that when I had been to the expo before, it always crossed my mind, why don't I stay another day or two? Why don't I stay through the weekend? This is really a nice place to go. Should have brought the family, should have brought the wife, should have just made a weekend of it because it was so pleasant. So I'm just giving a reason that people may not think of to come to Central New York, enjoy the
Yeah.
expo, greet your friends there, see the vendors you want to talk to, and be part of the SBE national meeting. So anyway, I just want to bring that up. That it's a gorgeous place. Now,
Have a
aside
mini
from
vacation.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Or at least a day or two. And I didn't pull the handles on the slot machines back when it was at Turning Stone. I doubled my money by folding it in half and putting it back in my pocket.
Well, they're going to double the size of the place, so that tells you kind of what your winning chances are there.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
just announced a few weeks ago they're going to double the size of the place.
All right, so let's talk about any. You got vendors there, but let's talk about any technical presentations. What is going on in terms of learning anything?
Oh, we have 2 rooms full of technical presentations, starting at 9 a.m. in the morning and ending at 4 p.m. We have 5 presentations related to ATSC3. We have
Mm.
3 related to radio, cybersecurity, which will be Wayne Pacina doing that one. 2 transmitter site related papers, how to maintain your transmitter site, site monitoring, uh, and a few others: cloud switching, fiber optics, radio, TV, web, real-time communications. So there's a good variety of presentations that you can choose from, and you're obviously not going to get to 2 rooms at the same time. You have to pick and choose, and hopefully have some time to get to the exhibitors too and see what they have to offer.
Vinny, talk to me about the vendors. This is a lot of vendors haven't been to a show in a while. I know that the company I work for, Telos Alliance, got back from IBC with a whole lot of stories about conversations they've been having, and
Mhm.
a lot of excitement along those lines. So I would imagine that vendors will be introducing new products or certainly bringing out enhancements to things they have. So it's a good time to meet the people whose equipment you use, right?
Yeah. A lot of our core vendors that we've had in years past are going to be there this year. There's a few that are still missing, a few of the key ones, but give them enough time and they will return. I mean, this probably did not hit the budget radar of a lot of people's shows, so maybe they can. We'll give them that for this year. But a lot of our core vendors are there. We've got SCMS. Jim Peck will be there with a
Mhm.
couple of booths full of radio gear. We've got a lot of television vendors. And Tom, we probably should talk a little bit about Joe Giardina too,
Yes,
shouldn't
I was
we?
just thinking that. Yes, Joe Giardina contacted me a couple of weeks ago and said, he would like to exhibit, but he wanted to know if we could do something for him too for his not-for-profit Bees Foundation. And Bees Foundation raises money for cancer research and children's education regarding cancer. And he would wanted to know if we could do something for him. We said, well, we can give you an adjacent booth for not for profit. So he said, that's great. He purchased a booth. We gave him a booth next to uh, his booth, and he is going to bring some used broadcast gear that came out of stations that went through repack, and he's going to offer that gear up for sale. He's not price tagging anything. He's going to offer it up to you. Make an offer to him, and he will either decline or accept that offer. Most likely, he'll accept it, and you can take the equipment with you, or he can ship it to you. He will have a computer there with other equipment that he can't bring to the show that you could make a purchase of, and then he will ship it. So, it's a great opportunity to support cancer research. I thought it was a great idea, and looking forward to seeing what he has to offer. He's also got some computer gear. He says that he'll have in there.
I was hoping to put a bid in on a Wallensack. We used to use one of those at an NPR station. I started out in radio at. We had a wall and sack we used for interviews in the record library. Wow. Hey, so Tom, inflation has been harmful to some folks over the last years. Prices of everything have gone up and up. Talk to me about the cost of attending this expo coming up here.
Well, admission is free. Cocktail reception is free. We do have a buffet lunch that we're charging $10 per person for as a copay, and we have a sponsor, Broadcast Software International, that will pick up the rest of that tab. So really, that's the only expense, unless you're going to the national dinner, which is another $16 for a very good dinner. And I'll have to say the hotel, which is Ramada by Wyndham in Liverpool, which used to be Holiday Inn, which used to be Sheraton, changed name several times, but their prices really didn't increase a whole lot from 2019. And that's helped us keep the costs low for our vendors too.
Yeah, people can attend. Go ahead.
We didn't change the booth price at all since 2019, which is a plus for the vendors.
And that booth comes with electric. It comes with a table and 2 chairs, cloth on the table. Everything's
you're not paying per item like certain other shows.
Right. And no union to deal with. You can carry your own stuff into your booth, which I've heard from a lot of exhibitors that they really appreciate that.
Having worked for Scott Studios in the mid 90s, that was a big deal. And if you know anything about Dave Scott and Scott Studios, yeah, we carry everything in. Oh, this is just my suitcase. I know it looks like a computer, but it's my suitcase.
Of course, my suitcase is on wheels and stands 6 feet high.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, my suitcase takes a 20-amp power connection.
And I'll mention too, the hotel room rate is $111 a night, and these are nice rooms, and you're not going to find that anywhere.
Yeah, indeed. I just bought a hotel for Madison, Wisconsin, and last week bought a hotel in Tampa, Florida. So the $110 is a great price, and that is not free. You do have, if you're going to come, stay overnight, then you do need to pay for your hotel. Hey, we may have said at the beginning, but let's remind folks the date on this. Thursday, September 29th is the big day, right?
Yes, exhibits open at 8:30 and they close at 4:30. Technical presentations start at 9 and they end at 4. The SBE National Membership meeting is 4 to 5. Let's see what else. The reception 5 to 6, and then the national awards dinner 6 to 7:30.
Okay, so what's the only thing happening on the 28th on a Wednesday? Is that the SBE National Board meeting?
National Board meeting, correct, and a few committee meetings most likely.
I know what I'm doing. I'm attending by video conference that night.
Okay.
But then everything else happens on the 29th. And by the way, if you want to see those viewing right now, go to SBE22.org, SBE22.org. And there's a link in the upper left for 2022 Expo. Just click on that, 2022 Expo at SBE22.org, and it'll take you right there. By the way, the keynote speaker, one of my favorite people in the whole world. Tell me, Vinny, who is speaking? Keynote?
That would be Skip Peasy from NAB. Will be doing the keynote speech at the National Awards dinner. I'm not sure what he's going to be talking about.
There is a title up on our website.
I can tell you that.
I found it this week.
Yeah, Skip's the topic is top 10 tricks for broadcast innovation, and in parentheses, you won't believe number 6. Skip is apparently a master at the clickbait headline now.
Isn't he about 7 years behind the times on that particular clickbait?
Yeah, well, you won't believe number 5 then.
Oh my gosh. I just hope I don't have to scroll to the very bottom to see the racy picture that was part of the headline, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I'll mention too, we are going to have a hospitality suite with beer, wine, snacks, soft drinks. And that will be open Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. And we'll hand out a slip of paper with everybody's registration pack, telling them where that room is and what time it'll be open.
And remember, we are the chapter that puts the hospital in hospitality.
Are you close to the hospital? Seriously? Anywhere near the Syracuse hospital? No?
It's a few miles, but
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
we have good EMS providers in town.
It's more than a walk, in other words.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, we're talking to Tom McNicholl and also Vinny Lopez from Chapter 22, where they're having a big expo. They've had it quite a few years, not every year, and of course the last 2 years because of COVID they didn't have it. But we're talking about that because it's also home of an SBE national meeting. And it's also just filled with a good technical program. Hey, if Wayne Pacina is speaking there and Skip Peasy is going to be the keynote speaker, you know that there's good things going on. So we're talking about it. First of all, if you're a vendor and you haven't signed up yet, you really want to do that. Tom, how would a vendor say, you know what, I need to do that? Who do they contact?
They can go right to our website. And on the website, when you go to the 2022 Expo link, over on the right side, there's a place where exhibitors can register for a booth or sponsorship or both, and pay online with their credit card, or mail a check to us.
Good deal. And Vinny, what about attendees? What if I want to drive, a 4.5 hour drive away and make my way up there? What do I need to do to attend, get registered?
You go to the same website, SBE22.org, click on the Expo thing and look for the link that says attendee registration. That'll take you to a slightly different form, and just fill out your information, and hopefully we'll see you there.
You can register at the site, but it's going to take a little time when you get there if you do that. And we'd prefer you pre-register, because that way, if you check the box for lunch, we have a pretty good idea of how many are coming to lunch, and we can plan the food accordingly.
Well, and that way,
block still available, by the way, hotel room reservations, or is your block expired by chance?
The block expired, but they're honoring the rate as long as they have rooms available. And to my knowledge, they still have rooms available. I know somebody that purchased a room over the weekend. I know somebody else that turned in a room because he's got jury duty. He can't make it. So.
Yeah. But you have to call the hotel. You can't do it online. Right. That's the only catch to that.
Right.
And that number's on your site as well as the SBE National Meeting site. So
yes. And you mentioned the SBE Expo when you call, and you get the $111 rate.
Man, we've talked about several reasons why you should go. And of course, I like technical presentations. As we mentioned, Wayne Pacina is going to be speaking about cybersecurity. Skip Peasy is talking about the top 10 things and number sevens. You won't believe it. There's also presentations about fiber optic cables that every engineer needs to know at least about what to ask for, what to do. If you aren't into, cutting the ends and polishing and putting connectors on, there's other things that you can learn. HD cloud switching is pretty interesting. That's coming up. And 5 different presentations, as we mentioned, related to ATSC 3.0. So we're all headed in that direction. You might as well learn about that. And it's a gorgeous part of the world. So it sounds like the cost is pretty minimal. Hotel room, inexpensive food, the buffet lunch and the sit-down dinner, very inexpensive, and when you're there, you get to see Tom and Vinny. Will there be photo ops with you guys?
We want them to come. Why did you mention seeing Vinny?
And the SBE National Office will have a booth with some materials available for purchase. So be sure to
and you get to meet your board members and officers of SBE as well, incoming and most of the outgoing.
I think that's what I like about these expos. It's what got me going to expos. I think my first one was back in '78, maybe, was interacting with my peers and learning from them and sharing ideas and what's going on at my station with other people. I think it's a great opportunity to do that, and you can learn so much from doing that.
A lot of folks in the northeast part of the country perhaps didn't get a chance to go to that NAB show that we had this past April. And that was the kind of the restart of NAB. And so if you didn't get a chance to go to that, I got to tell you, people are just really loving to see each other again. That was a huge thing for me. I got to spend some time with the public radio engineers, and then got to spend plenty of time on the NAB show floors, which were, as Chris, you and I know, were separated by, it would seem like a mile. To get from one place to, thank goodness for Tesla's underground. Otherwise, oh man, wear yourself out. But so if you didn't get to go to that, this expo is a great opportunity to get back together with people, your peers from other places you haven't seen in a while, and press the flesh, shake hands, see how they're doing, check on their families, and check on their professions, what they're learning, what they're excited about, what they're doing, and that always helps you, sharing information like that. Chris, I'm sorry, was there something else you wanted to say, Chris?
Not at all. You pretty much covered it all, I think.
Because
I know we mentioned
back to you,
we
Kirk.
mentioned the different presentations, but if you want more details on those are on our website as well. Just go to the 2 presentation rooms. There's a link for each, and those presentations are all listed with a summary of each one, so you can everyone's see what you want to do.
Everyone's favorite Jeff Welton is going to be doing a presentation at the expo as well.
Of course he is. I'd be disappointed if he wasn't going to be there. By the way, we're talking about a pretty short date here. This is all coming up as we do this show live, and a lot of folks do see this on replay later on, but it's coming up just over a week from the time that we're talking live right now. It is Thursday, September 29th. So that is next week. If you're with us live right now, next week. So yeah, I need to make your plan to go. By the way, I looked up, because I'm a geeky nerd like this, I looked up how many people live within about a 5-hour drive of Syracuse, New York, or actually Liverpool Village, near Syracuse. Looked it up, and it is almost 60 million people who live. Now, some of them, not all of them, but some of them are broadcast engineers. I know we're a rare breed, but if you're a broadcast engineer within a state or two, you ought to consider getting in the car and going to central New York. I know I'm selling that kind of hard, but it's a worthwhile trip.
And spread the word around too. If you know somebody that is in the business and you think they should be there, please let them know about the show. Give them the link, SBE22.org, and see if you can get them to come out.
Right. And it's not only for broadcast engineers. We've got a lot of producers, independent videographers, directors, people like that who are just involved in the business that are coming out to the show that are already registered.
Yes.
Gotcha. Let's see. I'm out of talking points. We've covered a lot. Is there anything we obviously haven't covered? Vinny, just dovetailing on what you said just then, remember the Society of Broadcast Engineers over the past years has worked to expand its role, its reach, its mission, because the subtitle is the SBE is the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals. And that would include videographers and producers and editors and imaging people in radio stations. All kinds of people, if you're involved technically with the operation of these kind of media and multimedia operations, whether it's your own or whether you work for a big company, work for you.
Exactly. Right now, I'm here. This was an old office that we've turned into a podcast studio for the Orange Zone podcast that we do every Wednesday. Orange Zone used to be an over-the-air product, but recently it is transitioned to a online product. So we said, how can we make this better than someone sitting there with a webcam and the headset? Well, this is the result of it. You're seeing it. I'm not at the switcher right now, which is over there, but we have a Blackmagic ATEM. We have some Panasonic 3-chip cameras in here, the Rode Podcaster mics. I mean, and there's a whole truss system that our ops manager and I put in here with the lights, real lights that hang out. And it's just, it works really well. We've done one show out of it so far. We're looking forward to doing a lot more. So if you're interested in things like that, I'm sure you'll find that kind of stuff at the expo. The fine folks at LiveView will be there, and they have their little solo pack that allows you to go live from anywhere. Just all kinds of things you're going to find. You don't have to be an engineer. I mean, we're encouraging all engineers to come, that's what the SBE is, engineers. But everyone who has an interest is welcomed.
Tom and Vinny, 10, 20, 30 years ago, we, in television anyway, we kind of had one way of doing things. And with the advent of podcasting and additional content creation techniques, people have sought to find ways to do things cheaper, but still come out with a product that was close to being, as professional as what what the pros were putting together. And Vinny, you just kind of hit the nail on the head there. You've got some equipment that is the selection of which was informed by media professionals realizing we've got to work with a different size budget for this, or maybe you don't. I don't. I'm assuming something here. Tom, can you speak to that just a bit about when we meet together like this, we do get to share ideas about how to do an announce booth at home for not a lot of money that still sounds good because we picked the right equipment or use the right techniques, or even a home studio. Here I am, reasonably well lighted, and I've got a grand total of $110 worth of lighting shining on me right now, and I've had it for years. Tom, can you speak to that a bit and how people can learn and share these techniques?
Well, that's the great thing about coming to a show like this is you get to talk to your peers and share ideas and find out what they're doing and say, hey, I could do that too, so and maybe even schedule an appointment to go to their station or to their home or whatever to see what they're doing firsthand. So that's why I got involved in doing these shows. That's what got me involved coming to the shows year after year when I first started into broadcasting, and that all grabbed my attention and piqued my interest.
And Vinny, you're used to doing things on the cheap, right? That's my impression.
Usually, we're also going to be doing the live stream for the national meeting, and we're going to be doing it a little differently this year. We're going to be using PTZ unmanned cameras controlled from the back of the room with switching gear as well as an audio board. It's going to take a total of 2 people to pull this whole thing off. And
well, thank goodness, because those camera people you've had in the past were just awful.
Yeah, I just watch. This is when the robot uprising will occur.
Yes, right, indeed. The cameras are going to sprout legs and walk off the job.
Well, good. I'm glad we're putting newer technologies to use. That is just awesome. Chris Scherer, are there any more questions or statements that we need to be talking about here, other than make sure people know what the website is? It's SBE22.org, and we'll have that in the show notes.
Right. Yeah. And you already touched on the webcast. I wanted to make sure we mentioned that as well. That will be the evening of the 29th. And I just want to double check before I say a time and get it wrong, because I've done it before. That's from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock Eastern time. So if you're in another time zone, do the accordingly precise math and tune in. It'll be on our YouTube channel. And if we can put it somewhere else, we'll mention it there as well. We certainly thank the support of those who sponsored our live stream. I'll go ahead and give them a shout out. Black Magic Design, Dielectric, Jam Pro, and Marker Tech helped make the webcast possible. So if you can't make it to Syracuse in person, at least join us online. I was going to throw out one other idea too. If you're a few hours away from Syracuse and you're kind of sitting there on your own thinking, I don't know, a couple hours in the car and then spend the night, you know what? Call some of the guys in town. Carpool it, even if they're not in your own station. Call your friendly competitors. You can keep secrets in the car, but carpool and enjoy the day at the expo and spend the night and then go home the next day and be a better person and advance your career for it.
And while you're in the car together for a few hours, go ahead and get some frequency coordination done for your market.
Yeah, right.
Some places it's sorely needed. Tom McNicholl. Go ahead, Vinny.
I want to believe that I think there are still tickets available for the awards dinner too through the national office, and there is a link on our website where you can purchase the tickets directly online. So $16. That's and it's a really nice dinner and a good educational experience as well. So hop on over to the website and check that out.
Does it include a big old slice of chocolate cake at the end? Because that would set the night off just right.
It is not chocolate cake. Come on. It's New York style cheesecake for dessert, of course.
Oh, that works too. That works too.
I want some of that.
Mm-hmm.
We'd love to see a few more exhibitors sign up before next week hits, and we'd love to see a lot of attendees come out for this.
Cool.
Good deal. Gentlemen, Tom McNicholl, thank you for being here, and Vinny Lopez, thank you for being here as well. I appreciate your participation and all your hard work putting this thing together. I know it's going to be worthwhile for anyone attending.
Thanks for inviting us.
Kirk.
All right, Chris Scherer, why don't you walk us out of the show? Appreciate you.
Absolutely. This has been the SBE Webxtra, the SBE chapter of the web. We present it monthly, and we hope you'll join us each time. We'll post the replay on our YouTube channel, usually within a day or so. The SBE Webxtra is sponsored by Catrine, whom we thank for the support. Catrine, unique experience, individual solutions, reliable performance. If you hold SBE certification, viewing the SBE Webxtra qualifies you for 1/2 point in category G, that's attendance. It's just like attending a local chapter meeting. And if you have an idea for a topic or a guest for the SBE Webxtra, send it to us at webextra@sbe.org. And that does it for this installment of the SBE Webxtra from the Society of Broadcast Engineers, the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals. Thanks again to our guests, Tom McNicholl and Vinny Lopez of SBE Chapter 22. And on behalf of Kirk Harnack, we'll see you next month.